Hello, I'm Joseph, and I'll be doing a quick little TED Talk with you about the importance and impacts of positive relationships with adult learners and higher education students. A good working relationship between teacher and student in the classroom is essential to foster mutual respect and trust. Relationship includes getting to know your students better and giving them choices and motivating them to improve as learners each day. Teachers who act in this way are respected by their students, are shown to value uniqueness, and are considered kind. And this teacher-student relationship can increase academic performance, lower chronic absenteeism, foster self-motivation, develop self-regulation, and enhance academic goal-setting abilities. These positive interactions with your students not only increase their academic progress, but also create a friendly and safe environment for all students in the classroom. Students on the higher education level, at least, are highly invested in furthering their academic goals. That being said, positive relationships and rapport can go a long way to foster a more successful classroom. Um, Employing informal room arrangements, um, dealing with a complete person, addressing students as equals, and sharing authority in order to establish rapport is an important aspect in reaching this goal. And that's where the little things matter. So it starts with just smiling or the strong handshake, knowing their name every time they come in. But the key is making sure that they feel like an individual in the classroom, that they're not just a number in the system, because this instills in them the confidence to approach their learning with all their strength and time, and it reduces their doubts about the learning process, because if it's been a while since they've been in the system, then they're most likely going to feel a little overwhelmed with the whole experience. And I know from experience that having an open environment is very beneficial, because I've unfortunately know firsthand that there's nothing worse than being full of questions and being uncomfortable about the possible judgment and punishment for asking them in the classroom, just because of the way the teacher approaches his teaching style with his students. So being comfortable with the teacher when you need advice is very important, as well as being addressed as equals and having the authority in the classroom as much as the teacher themselves. And also part of the learning process is knowing that you're probably going to be dealing with students that don't necessarily have the same viewpoint as you. So having that tolerance is crucial in the classroom, because it encourages a dialogue and conversation with others that have that with these differing points of view, which doesn't mean that you have to necessarily agree with them, that you um, or that you be completely silent, because um, it's it's all about the dialogue and conversing these different ideas and working your way through how to successfully complete the conversation, because part of the learning process is making this that learning the facts is great, but also learning how to communicate with others is just as important. um, so keeping this academic and um, knowing your limits is also important in um, having a successful class as well. And that being said, it's one technique that I personally use is breathing technique. So if somebody I feel is overwhelming me with information on their point of view, that it's too strong, take a deep breath. Both say me and the student to take a deep breath, compose ourselves, think about our feelings, and then go back to the conversation with a now fresh mind and fresh body to get the point across without being loud or disrespectful or saying something that we might regret. And hopefully, in the end, we can come to either a common understanding or some kind of resolution, or at the very least, um, agree to disagree on the subject matter. And that leads into the needs and interests of the student, because their viewpoint is part of their interests. Because as we know, being passionate about something begins with our interest. And one way that we go about this is personalized um, uh, learning strategy, where we can um, develop plans, offer lengthy tasks utilizing smart technologies to work together. Work together to make this plan with each of the students, to fill in whatever gaps that they may have in their education, whether it be an area, or using some of their professional or life experience, or any other education that they might have acquired throughout their life, and skills, and then identify anything that will help further their education while minimizing repeating information and activities that won't accomplish whatever goals that they may have in coming back to the education system for whatever break of time. And in developing these, um, I personally impose a self-assessment form that I have the students do in the beginning, and check in throughout the class, just to see how they're coming along. One platform that I personally use um, um, looks after the strategic thinking, project execution, time management, and since there's a lot of group activities, the project leadership as well, which the students they themselves can go on that platform and check how they're fulfilling their benchmark goals. And also part of making sure you're in there developing the needs and interest of your students is by diving into their culture and the diversity, because the diversity in education is just going to constantly grow. And um, at some point, maybe we'll all have a similar cultural background, so it won't be as necessary, but we do need to dive into cultural awareness within our classrooms, so the way everyone feels like that they have a voice, that they can that they can converse about their culture and their viewpoints on different aspects, and that way you as a teacher could also understand how to um, more appropriately fulfill their concerns, because maybe the way that you talk, or you way you voice an opinion um, might be seen as disrespectful to them. So the only way you can know that is if you keep an open dialogue and allow the students to um, connect with the curriculum by bringing their own perspective and life experiences through their own culture and societal um, um, periods in their life. Because all students, at the end of the day, are students. They're people just like us, teachers and students alike. And at a fundamental level, we can connect and appreciate each other's differences, so that we can become um, more um, more connected as a larger community in the end, because we want to be treated as respectfully, and as a Christian view, um, treat others as we would like to be treated. So um, understanding and appreciating the differences is one way to show our appreciation for those that are different from ourselves. And in this talk, we discussed many different aspects of building positive rapport and relationships with some of my personal connections, and teachers in general with their students. We talked a little bit about one or two teaching theories, and cultural, social diversity, inclusion, viewpoint diversity, as well as teacher-student rapport and relationships. I hope you, as the audience members here, feel more confident in imposing concepts like mine, or taking mine and expanding upon it. But at the very least, were entertained by my charming demeanor. But joking aside, thank you for giving me your attention. I've been Joseph Doletz, and this has been my TED Talk.